before as a speaker on cybersecurity topics as well. But today, as I was saying before, it's a different session. We want to only focus on very useful tips on cybersecurity. That's why the title is Cybersecurity Essentials Tips for a Safer Digital Life. So let's see how it goes. I hope you like this new version. And then I think, yeah, Edgar, over to you, or Rafael.
Sure, Gabby, thank you. Yeah, so as you were saying, right, we are experimenting with a couple of new different formats, and I believe this is going to be quite interesting because especially Rafael will share with us a few tips on cybersecurity that are, like very practical. I hope we can also get some of these tips and find them useful, especially for the holiday season, right? That I bet there's some peaks in there for cybersecurity that we need to be aware of. So it's going to be great. Thank you, Rafael, for joining us again. It's great to have you here, and really looking forward to hearing all of these tips that you brought for us today. So over to you now.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be back here with you guys. This is going to be fairly fun. Hopefully it's fun because as I was saying before, it's a topic that I think is pretty common. Maybe people will think it's boring, but it's actually something where people have misconception about it, right? Basically, that's why I wanted. I was asking Gabby if we can make this a little interactive, right? But if anyone wants to answer here, I would like to ask, like, how often do you think you should change your password? Anyone here on the call, like you, Edgar? I don't know.
Or you can also
like any
leave a
best
comment on the
or...
chat.
Yeah, like according to the best practices, yes. How often do you think you should change your password?
I'd say maybe every 3 months.
That's completely wrong.
I can see some...
Yeah, it's completely wrong, and that's why I think it's fun because, again, there is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, right, which is called as the NIST, okay, and since 2020, this it's been updated where it's well known that if you force the users to change passwords every so often, the password gets weaker and weaker, and it's actually more vulnerable, right, and it's easier to guess. So basically, the best recommendation is having a fairly complex password, okay, that is easy to remember, and that is not easily guessable, but that you can actually read, okay, and that is at least 12 to 16 characters. Okay, why I'm saying this, I'm going to explain this in a second, right, about the characters, because some people think that, oh, it's annoying, why do I need to have special characters, or why do I need to have numbers and caps and whatever, right? And so the thing is, basically, the first thing I want to start for, right, is with the complexity, right? So whenever you make password crazy complex, it's not really good, because at the moment of when you need it, you don't gonna remember it, right? And again, it's gonna take you to a point where it's gonna force you to make something really easy to use. Okay, so if you think that making extremely complex passwords is good, it is at a certain point, and we'll discuss that later, but not really. Okay, uh, so basically, what is important is that you use lowercase, uppercase, special characters, and numbers, right? And at least 8 characters. If you're using all those type of characters, right, like lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and special characters, then yes, a minimum of 8 will be enough, but it's not as good as you think it could be. Okay, and then that's why I wanna give you guys some other tips here. So why 8 characters password might not be that good? So think about this: if you make a 8 characters password, right, and it's only all lowercase, in this case, it's an all lowercase password, okay? It will take a $100 GPU, and what I mean by this is it's a device, it's a piece of hardware that anybody can afford, right? 21 seconds to break into your password. So basically, a GPU can do a $100 GPU can do an average of 10 billion guesses per second, and 8 character password, right? That is all lowercase. it's going to be about 208 billions of probabilities, right? So I guess again, with just a $100 piece of hardware, a hacker can guess your password in 21 seconds. So that way, it's the first thing to really understand why all lowercase password that short, it's not secure at all. So let's step it up a little, right? Let's say, well, it's 8 characters, but I use uppercase, lowercase, and numbers. We don't have special characters, but it's still being an 8 character password. Well, it's gonna take them 6 hours. I think it's still very insecure, right? And then if we, take it up a little, right, and we say, okay, I use lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and symbols. It's gonna take them 8 days, okay? And basically, all this is, estimated with a hardware that is very mainstream, right? That everybody can get it. It's easy, it's accessible. So think about people that have access to a bunch of servers that are hacked and they're repurposed for this kind of stuff. It might be even faster than what we think. So that's why when I would say the bare minimum is 8, I will even not recommend 8, right? But then if we do a little jump, right, to 14 characters, it's a totally different story. So let's say that you have a 14 characters password, right? That is all lowercase, okay? That will I don't even know how to pronounce this number. That the possible combinations will be 62 quintillions possibilities, okay, of a password with lowercase, and that is all lowercase 14 characters. Sorry. So in this case, for someone to guess your password with an average, hardware, it's going to take them 247,000 years to break. So the difference is huge in this case, right? And I think this is why I think these numbers help people understand why 8 to 14 characters is a huge difference. Because what I'm trying to say here, if you use a 14 character password, right, even though it's all lowercase, as long as you remember it, it's gonna be secure enough. Okay. And now, when I was asking about, okay, Edgar, why how often do you think you should change your passwords? Because we have the misconception that the thinking, oh, if we make people change passwords every so often, they're gonna go ahead and it's it was gonna be secure because nobody's gonna know the password. Well, again, that's not true, because it's been proven that when you put us human beings under that pressure, we just keep making it easier to remember because we keep changing passwords so often, and we don't have just one password, right? We have a lot of different passwords to remember, so it makes us feel frustrated, and just make passwords easier to break and easier to go through. Um, so
So what's the
basically,
ideal framework or like timeline to change this?
okay, that's a great question. And sorry, I forgot about saying that, Gabby. But actually, the ideal, I wouldn't say there's a timeline to it. It's actually, if you have a secure password, and I already explained what is a secure password, right? So you guys have an idea of what that means. If you have a secure password, you should change it only when there is any suspicion that it's being compromised. Okay, or only when you believe that you put in a place that is not a good place, like place that doesn't have a good reputation. And
Okay.
there's another link that I'm going to send you guys at the end of this, where you can actually put your password there. It's going to be totally encrypted, and it's going to tell you if that is a password that's been filtered before in other breaches or not. So if you go there and put password like "Welcome back 2023," which people think in exclamation mark at the end, right? Where people think that it's very secure password, actually tells you how many times it's been broken, before, or it's been breached before. So
Rafael, and sorry, what do you think about when like someone uses the same password for all different things?
it's
Is that a
horrible.
good practice?
No,
Okay.
it's a horror. That's actual still relevant, and just think about that. If you have the same password for everything, right? Once someone gets your password, they can start trying in all kind of social media that they think you might have, and then break into your stuff really quick and really easy.
Mm.
And actually, because of that, because there's a lot of people that still uses the same password for different things, right? it's that it's good to use multi-factor authentication, SSO, and in a password manager. Okay, which we're going to talk about as well. So basically, believe it or not, the best way to protect your password is not knowing it, right? Because if you don't know it, you are not able to put it somewhere, and someone will steal it from you. And that's what we call passwordless authentication. And it's basically when you have I don't know if have you ever go to a place where you're trying to log into the place, right? And you see that it has an option where it says Gmail and Apple
Right.
or Facebook, right? So basically what that does, that is single sign on, which is SSO, right? Or is well known as SSO. So when you use single sign on and you have a secure password in like, let's say, Gmail, right? And you
Mhm.
use Gmail to sign in as much places as you can, that's very secure. Why? Because your password is protected. It's a secure password. Plus that, to get into your Gmail account, you have to set up stuff like multi-factor authentication, which activates like geolocation login and stuff like that, right? And by geolocation, I mean it's gonna try to guess, where normally you log in from. And Google, I don't know if you've seen that Google sometimes you try to log in from a friend's computer. It says, well, I'm not going to let you log in unless you authenticate through your email, right? And just click on your email here or something like that. So that's why it's very secure when you use single sign-on, because basically you're not putting your password anywhere. It's basically the application contacting Google saying, hey, I have this guy, right, that says that I have an account with you, and I want to, I want to authenticate his credentials. And basically the Google service, right, says, yeah, he is who he says he is. Let him in, right? So that's one of the best practices I can recommend regarding like safeguarding your passwords is using that SSO, using a password manager, right? And do not share your password with anyone, even though if it is someone that you trust a lot, right? I will not recommend sharing it at all, just because if you share it, you're gonna have to type it somewhere, and sometimes you forget to delete it from there or something like that, right? Um, so the next tip I had here, actually, we already talked about, which was do not enforce regular password changes. That we talked about that already, right? And this is what I was talking about. So ban common and compromised passwords. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this link here, okay? And I'm gonna paste it on the chat for anyone to see. So if someone is curious about how if your password it's ever been breached before, right? You can go ahead and check it out from there. So uh, okay, that was what I have about the bank and common passwords, right? And using multi-factor authentication and the recovery mechanisms, right? So another good thing it is that whenever you're setting up your accounts, you always have a way to retrieve your password, right? Because sometimes we forget about passwords, and this way to retrieve your password can be an email that is insecure either, or that has not been set up with best practices, right? Because think about that. Let's say that I have a really strong password on my Gmail account, but the account to recover the Gmail password in case that it's being that I forgot my password is actually weak. That like it doesn't have an MFA set up. The password is weak for the recovery. We're doing nothing, right? So that's going to be another tip for that. So now regarding the password managers that I would recommend, depending on your skill levels, all right? So Bitwarden, it's a free one, so that's the good stuff. It's really easy to use, and it's going to be free as long as you use it just in one device. You can use it in multiple ones, but it won't sync across them, right? So the good stuff is when you do the pay version, it's going to have an encrypted connection between all your devices. So if you put you save your password on your computer, right, it's going to sync across all your devices. So that way, if you have it installed in your phone, you can go ahead and retrieve your password from the phone. So if you use free versions, the disadvantage is that you have to go to the device where you save the password to retrieve it, right? If you use like the paid version, the same. So even though Bitwarden it's very friendly, it might be a little challenging from some users that are not a little tech savvy. So if you're not tech savvy at all, I would say the best one will be LastPass. Uh, since even though they suffer a couple breaches like a few years ago, right? They handled this in the right way. They disclosed everything about the breach and what was wrong with it, and they explained why the breach they didn't mean a threat to your passwords as well. So that's another one that if you're afraid about the breach, you can read about it, but it should be fine. Actually, it's the one I use because I like the way it syncs everything. I have the paid version for that one. So every time I put a password on the password manager, it syncs all across.
But
Another one
is
that is
this one is also I mean, they also provide a free version?
yes,
Okay.
it's a free version, but again, the free version will not sync through devices.
Okay.
But another thing that is great about when you're using a password manager, it will tell you automatically whenever you save a password, if it's like at least Bitwarden and LastPass, the pay version will tell you if the password has ever been in a breach, right? Or or if it is commonly used, and it will tell you right away, hey, you know what? You should change this password because it's been breached on this whatever incident that happened on this date, right? And same thing is going to happen with Bitwarden on the paid version, or should happen at least, right? And a part of that, the good stuff. So there is something common that the people ask is like, oh, but if I have a password manager, right? And someone break into my password manager, they have access to all your passwords. You're right, but that's why I say if you have a password manager, you just use a fairly complex and easy to remember password. And you remember I said, so one tip to make a password secure and easy to remember, make it a phrase, not a word, right? Like even if it is a phrase that nobody knows that is from your childhood, right? Like I don't know, something that you used to tell your best friend or something like that, right?
Dos
Go ahead.
intermediate.
Sorry.
No,
Okay.
go ahead, Rafael. Yeah.
Okay, so something like that, like I like to go to the supermarket, right, and make it like caps and lowercase and throw some numbers and one special character at least. That should be enough, and it's something easy to remember, right? After that, I will recommend just enable MFA as well in your in your well, no, your LastPass in your password manager or whatever it is the one that you use. Make sure you enable your MFA as well, and then make sure that you enable like geolocation. Make sure you enable stuff like it blocks automatically whenever you close the application and things like that. So those are tricks that can help you manage your passwords easily, right? Have it all the time available to you in a secure way.
Okay. So what about, for example, if we are visiting any place or I don't know, maybe at a hotel, and then we cannot use our own computer to log in? What would be the recommendations there for us to, you know, work through that situation and keep
You
our
can
password
use a
and
password
information
manager
secure?
on your phone. You could use it on your phone. Even the free version is just that. Remember, if you save it on your well, you gotta be careful because some of the Android and the I would say the Android, the Apple, and the what was the other one? Android, Apple, and the Chrome one, which is from Google as well, but it's different one. So I will never recommend using the password manager from the web browsers at all because those are very easy to reach, and I will not recommend the Microsoft one either because it have had a lot of issues before, and the Apple one as well. So I would say just pick any password manager, read about it, make sure it's secure, it's good, and install the application on your phone, right? And if you want the free version, just remember it's not going to sync across, but at least you're going to have it on your phone, which is a mobile device that normally everybody have with them today's day, right? So that's what I do, and you won't have any issues with that. I can tell you that. Like if the password does not auto-populate in your phone for any application, you can always go to the application, open it, and see the password and type it manually.
Okay, sounds good. And what can you tell us about, you know, a perhaps near future where, for example, quantum computers can or are set to be able to break into passwords and pretty much break the security that we are currently running? Is that something that we have to worry about or not
I
just
will
yet?
say it is too far away still, and everything escalates.
Okay.
Where I mean, it is too far in the sense that yeah, there is already Google doing tests with that, but for a regular human being to be able to have hands on a quantum computer, and mess with it and do whatever they like, I think we're still, at least in my opinion, we're still a little far away from
Mm-hmm.
it. But I think all that escalates with the issue, right? I mean, if we reach a point where the quantum computers, right, are a matter of or accessible to anyone, I think we're gonna have better security practices and technology to secure or devices at that point. And I think even though using multi-factor authentications, like multiple ways to authenticate yourself, uh, something that makes the password managers very secure when you have it in your phone is that actually every time that you receive, let's say, a multi-factor authentication, right? You get in your phone, the multi-factor authentication normally is going to ask you either any biometrics, right, to access it in your phone. Then you approve the sign in, and then you close it with close the sign in with another biometric authentication. Same thing for the password managers. When you get in there, you need to do the biometrics, multi-factor authentication, then then your password. And I think all these multiple layers is depending. I would say it's more depending on the user education on doing the right thing than how much technology we have out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Perfect. So we're almost there regarding time, but could we make a quick recap? And could you help us with if we are missing any other thing in there, Rafael, for securing our passwords? And as I was saying, perhaps is there anything that we want to take like extra care for the holiday season as well? What would be your comments in there? What's your opinion?
I would say on the holiday season, the extra care will be with social engineering, right? Because I'm pretty sure you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna start receiving phishing emails, right? Trying to
Mm-hmm.
steal your credentials with stuff like, "Oh, Merry Christmas from your whatever aunt," right, or stuff like that. That maybe they get
Mm-hmm.
a name of someone close to you, and they spoof their account or something like that. And so I'll say for the holiday season, yeah, be careful with phishing emails with holiday topics, like you get a bonus from your your employer, right? Oh, here is a bonus from Christmas time, and then you go all excited and open the bonus, and it's just something that's trying to steal your credentials or to steal your
Mm-hmm.
information. Yeah, that will be a recommendation based on the season, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So then just to recap, the general recommendation would be that we have a long password, like
At least
16
I would
characters long.
recommend. No, I
Mhm.
recommend at least 14 should be more than enough.
14.
Uh, yeah,
Right.
14 should be more than enough. Just a phrase that is easy to remember, right? If you can make it a mix of special characters and lowercase numbers, it'll be better. But again, if it is 14 characters, you at that point you can even use all lowercase and it'll be fairly secure. Uh,
Mhm.
do not reset it, right, unless you think it's been breached, basically, and just keep it there. And always use multi-factor authentication and password managers and a secure mechanism to retrieve in the case that you forget it. Yeah.
Mhm. Amazing. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Rafael. I think this was an amazing session. We really got a lot of useful information out of it, and it was like super quick, and I really
Awesome.
appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to having more sessions like this where you can share with us more tips. I think these are like super valuable, right? And
Yeah,
there are things that we can start applying immediately, right? Like
that's right.
straight away. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'm not sure, do you have any closing comments? Any future topics that we will be talking about?
Oh yeah, as I was talking to Gabi, I think that the one of the next topics I would like to talk about is OTP, like sorry, IoT. I don't know why I say OTP, IoT, so Internet
Mhm.
of Things, which basically it's how insecure this device are, right, and how we can make it a little secure to have all these kind of devices in our house around us. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, that sounds exciting. Perfect. All right. So
Alrighty.
thank you so much, Rafael. Thank you, everyone. In this new format for the Tech Social, where we will be sharing amazing tips as the ones that Rafael shared with us today. I hope you find it useful and that you can start applying many of these so we can start securing our passwords and our accounts even more, right? So thank you so much. Thank you, Rafael. Glad
Thank
that
you,
you are
everyone. Thank
here
you again.
again with us and looking forward to the next one. Yeah.
Looking
All right.
forward. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. You too. See you guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.